Welcome back, 7th graders. Today we're going to be exploring more about biodiversity. What we're going to be doing is completing this Gizmo together, and you'll be answering your Edpuzzle questions that come from the Gizmo sheet that you normally fill out. I'm going to be following this sheet just like we normally would follow it because it tells us the directions of what to do in our Gizmo. Before we begin, we need to start with a warm-up and look at our populations. We have grass, which we have 4,000 tons. We're starting with 80 ferrets, 10 foxes, and we're beginning with 25,000 prairie dogs. What we're going to do is use this to see the organisms, but it only shows us a little part of the whole town. So we're also going to use this data chart so that we can see the data here. What we're going to start by doing is using this button down here that says Advance Year. So if I click it once, it tells me that 1 year has gone by. I'm going to click it so that 10 years go by. Now I see that 10 years went by. You can tell that our populations kind of changed over time. If I look here at the data, I can see that right now grass is selected. I'm going to change this to a line graph so that I can see all 4 organisms at once. Looking here, it tells me the population based off of percentages. I can see that this line is stable. That means our populations remained stable over 10 years. Now, I want you to think. Does this mean that they are in equilibrium and that they are stable? Or does this line show that there is a problem in this ecosystem? Now let's keep going. We're going to come back to our prairie view and reset so we can start the first activity. What I'm going to do is take away all the animals. So ferrets have got to go. Foxes have got to go. And my prairie dogs have got to go. Now I'm going to advance the year to make it for 20 years to go by. Here we are 20 years later without any animals. I want you to ask yourself, did the grass survive or did it die? Exactly. We can see that there's more grass than what we started with. The grass kept growing. Notice that the grass kept growing because it still has what it needs to survive. There's still water coming down, there's still sunlight provided, and there's still carbon dioxide in the air. Let's reset and try this again. What if this time I take away part of the grass? We're going to remove half of it. Okay. Now I want you to think here. What do you think is going to happen to the rest of my animals if I advance the year? Let's see it. 1, 2. We're only going to go 2 years. I want you to notice what happened. Now I have 8 foxes, 11,000 prairie dogs, and only 49 ferrets. Did my populations increase or decrease? Now, let's keep going. What if I continue all the way to 20 years? Notice what I have now. I look pretty similar to my original starting populations. I'm almost back up to 4,000 grass. I'm above my 80 ferrets I started with. I'm back to 10 foxes, and I have more than 25,000 prairie dogs. Why do you think that happened? Why did the ecosystem return to equilibrium and be stable again? want you to think. What could naturally happen to cause this situation that we created? We took away half of the grass, but over time, the ecosystem returned to its stable equilibrium state. Things like this happen in real life. For example, a fire could have swept through and destroyed part of the grass. There could have been a bug infestation that destroyed part of the grass. Or maybe a human drove through the field and drove over part of the grass. Let's keep going. I'm going to reset this. Now, I notice in my ecosystem here, I have prairie dogs. They eat grass. I have ferrets. I wonder what they eat. I know foxes are carnivores. I bet they eat the prairie dogs. Let's kind of explore this concept back to our food webs. So, let's think. What's going to happen if I increase the number of foxes? I know that foxes are carnivores. What is that going to do to my other population of prairie dogs and ferrets? Well, let's find out. I'm going to advance the year 5 years. What do you notice? Exactly. I'm back to my 10 foxes. I've lost some prairie dogs and ferrets. But it's not a horrible dip, is it? Let's keep going to 20 years and see what happens. Here we are at year 20. Notice my ecosystem has returned to equilibrium. I'm back to almost my starting numbers. I wonder if I reset this, what organism in this ecosystem could wipe out the whole food chain? Let's try taking away all of the grass. Make your prediction of what's going to happen in this ecosystem now that there isn't any grass. Let's continue and advance the year. Here I am at year 5, and my entire ecosystem has died except for one fox. But by the time I make it to year 6, my entire ecosystem has died. That's because we lost the producer, who's at the bottom or the beginning point of all of our food chains. Let's reset this. Now, what would happen if, say, a disease occurred and it only affected ferrets, and it killed out all of the ferrets? What is going to happen to our ecosystem now? Let's see. Here I am 5 years later after my ferrets died. Notice I've lost all my foxes. Wow. The fox population died because they lost their food source. Now, our prairie dogs, we only have 1,800 of them left, and we barely have any grass left. If I keep going, by the time I make it to year 12, my entire ecosystem has died. I want you to notice certain parts or changes in the ecosystem can be recovered from, like when we removed half of the grass, because there was still some grass there. But whenever I completely remove a population, there was no other organism to take that organism's spot in the food chain, so the entire ecosystem was negatively affected. Make your reflection now.